and justice for all. Justice for all?
I'ma get mine, you should get yours too. Shoot. Men and boys always shoot.
American dream, American men too. Shooting. Watch them boys always shoot.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we're dealing in hate. We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
At the end of the day, being a black man in America is very frightening, and it lets us know that we got so much further to go to be equal in this country.
He was sitting on the stoop of his building, talking to a friend, when 4 police officers ran up on him and threw him and 3 others on the ground, handcuffed them, and then pushed them up against a wall, all the while asking them, "What drugs do you have? What drugs do you have?"
So quiet. Respectable Negro man who had the unmitigated temerity to feel sorry for a white woman is on trial for his life. He has had to put his word against 2 white accusers. Now I need not remind you gentlemen of their conduct here in court. Their cynical confidence that you gentlemen would go along with them on the assumption, the evil assumption, that all Negroes lie, that all Negroes are basically immoral, an assumption one associates with minds of their caliber. But you gentlemen know the truth. And the truth is that some Negroes lie, and some Negro men are not to be trusted on women, black or white, and so with some white men.
You act like a change, trying to put me in chains. Don't act like you're saving us, it's still the same. Man, I act like I made it up, you blaming us. You keep it 100, you gave it danger.
You've probably heard a lot about systemic discrimination in America. It's the idea that if you're not white, the deck is somehow stacked against you. And that is true. Government studies and academic research show over and over again that to be black in America is to face bias. What you might not realize is just how constant, varied, and idiosyncratic that bias can be. So, using all these studies, let's try to paint a picture of a life that millions of black Americans live. If you're black in America, you run into bias at a pretty young age. If you walk to school in the morning, you might have to wait longer to cross the street. Drivers stop less frequently for black pedestrians than for white. If you misbehave in school, you might be punished more harshly than your white classmates, even if you broke the same rule. And when you apply to colleges, your disciplinary record might make it harder to get in. If you're black in America and you're looking for a job, you might have to look harder. Job applicants with black-sounding names receive fewer callbacks than those with white-sounding names. And if you get the job, keep in mind that you'll be working just as hard as your white colleagues, but might make 30% less than them.
In your spirit, why is it important for you to speak on these issues?
I mean, it's very important because it's a real situation. It's live right now. You know, when we look back in the past, it make us say, man, we done came a mighty long way. Even a song say, I've come a long way. I've come a long way. But we still got a long way to go. The issues that we faced in the past, we still face these same issues to this day. And if we shut up about it, then they'll sweep it under the rug. It'll still occur. It'll probably get worse than what it is now.
Now there is one institution, one human institution, which makes the pauper the equal to a Rockefeller, the stupid man the equal to an Einstein. That institution, gentlemen, is the court of law. In our courts, all men are created equal. But a court is only as fine as its jury. And the jury is only as fine as the gentlemen who make it up. Now I am confident that you gentlemen will review without passion the evidence that you've heard. Come to a decision and restore this defendant to his family. In the name of God, do your duty.
I gotta get another 9, even though I'm colorblind. I'm fresh out the county on bail, and no sooner do I get out, seems like I'm right back in jail for some gang-related activity. Cause every day different fools try to get with me for no more than a color, a territory. Can't rehabilitate them, that's the sheriff's story. So what's left? The judge goes deaf when you try to tell your side, and you ain't blue-eyed, boy, you better duck, cause the book is coming. So just hand your car keys over to your woman, because it ain't no sunshine where you headed, and it shoulda drive you crazy if you let it. But now I got time to think, because they hit me with everything but the kitchen sink, and I ain't even shed a tear. Cause believe it or not, they got more love for me here. Now picture that, but on a black and white photograph. Cause brothers, you don't know the half. On the streets I was damn near out of my mind, but ever since I've been down, I'm colorblind.
At some data. Okay, let's begin with the criminal justice system. So last year, the U.S. Sentencing Commission released a report showing that African-American men's prison sentences were on average 20% longer than white men's prison sentences when they were convicted of similar crimes. And in fact, in the past decade, the racial gap in sentencing has been widening. Also, black people and white people use illegal drugs at almost identical rates, but black people are 3 times more likely to be arrested for drug possession. Also, African-Americans are far more likely to be stopped and searched by police, at least in the jurisdictions that keep good records, even though in many cases the contraband hit rate, the chance that an officer will find something actually illegal, is higher among white people.
When I look at that, that's my people. He could, the generation down, that could somebody be a relative to me. I always think about what have we done as a species or as people. What have we done so much for people to hate us? Why? What? Why? I don't understand it. And for that reason of me not understanding, I know a lot of people don't understand it. And if you ain't lived in it, or if you ain't lived in the skin like this, you'll never understand it. That's why I speak for it, and I'll continue to speak for it.
CNN and Kaiser Family Foundation poll found about half of Americans think racism is a big problem, one that doesn't seem to be getting better. 2/3 said racial tensions in the United States had increased over the last decade. More than half of blacks said they had experienced some form of racial discrimination in their lifetimes, from being denied a job to fearing for their lives. About 1/3 of whites and Hispanics reported similar experiences. Blacks and Hispanics were also far more likely than whites to say that they had been unfairly treated in the last month in a public place, such as a restaurant or in a store, because of their race. Segregation is still a reality as well, at work and at home. 60% of whites said their work colleagues were all or mostly white, and close to 70% of whites said either their social circle or their neighborhood was mostly white. When asked if certain factors, like discrimination, a lack of educational opportunities, and broken families, played a major role in the social and economic problems facing their communities, the majority of blacks and Hispanics said yes. But even so, there is optimism. A majority of blacks and Hispanics aged 18 to 34 say it's easier for them to achieve the American dream than it was for their parents. Only 31% of young white adults said the same.
Land of the free, it lies the home of the homeless. Too many die every day, and we really just want this freedom.
white friend's mom forbade her son to be friends with him.
They end up just saying because you're black, so you can't hang out. Her and her son.
Wow, so she kind of very openly said that the reason why her son could not hang out with you and your family was because you guys are black.
Yep.
Because of their skin.
Dante was bullied so badly because of his race, he had to change schools.
I've been bullied for like the way I looked and the way of my skin at my previous school that I went to, and they just kept on bullying me, and I didn't like it. I just asked them to stop like over and over again, and then I tried not to break, but I couldn't like hold on anymore. So I asked my mom, can I leave?
A protest and a struggle against racism and injustice, and this is what we are working to eliminate in our organization and in our total struggle. I would also like to commend the outstanding athletes who have the courage and the kind of determination to make it clear that they will not participate in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City unless something is done about these terrible problems, these terrible evils and injustices. Freedom always demands sacrifice.
Free at last, thanks to the 13th Amendment. We thought this would be the one that would end it, but we still harass, still mass incarcerations. So much for the Emancipation Proclamation. Oh, but be careful, black men, I know you eager to climb. Slavery is legal if you're convicted of a crime. And when that crime that you committed probably don't fit the time, have you building ships for NASA and they pay you a dime. A conspiracy, they try to censor you when you speak. They can't hide behind the sheets, so not they do you like me. Meanwhile, you taking chances out here trying to survive. Yeah, not a lot has changed since 1865, but still they try to teach you that everybody's equal until you up for the same job as white people. Just know until we walk into the gates of the kingdom, we gon' stand here united, ready to fight for our freedom.
Everybody's life matters, including every single person that enters the criminal justice system in the prison industrial complex. It's not even only about black lives. It's about changing the way this country understands human dignity.
I stand against racism.
I stand against racism.
We stand against racism.
We stand against racism.
I stand against racism.
I stand against racism.
I stand against racism.
I stand against racism.
We stand against racism.